Hey, once again from Rockfest, Wisconsin, I'm Lou Brutus on board the Beartooth bus with
yes.
Caleb. How are you, man?
Amazing, dude. Great as always.
I'm really happy that you finally have new music out.
Me too.
I guess a way of prefacing this would be, you know, I knew it was going to be a little while before we had new music. It was a little longer than I thought it was going to be, and I think you too.
All of us, dude. I mean, originally when we were first scheduling stuff out, we had going into the studio in February, and we didn't end up going into the studio till, what, June or something? I don't know. It was a lot in May. Sorry, it was May and June. And, yeah, it just kept, like, more songs would keep coming up, and then I'd keep working on stuff, or I'd start writing with some other friends, and, like, it compiled so much stuff that it just took forever to work through. But thankfully it's done. I think it's perfect. I'm really, really happy with it. But man, it took a long time.
And again, when you say you're compiling stuff, what do you mean by that? Are you laying down demo tracks and then you bring everybody else in, or what's the process? How is it built?
Well, I mean, the record is still made in the traditional Beartooth fashion, where I write it, record it, all that stuff. But I did some co-writing with some other people that I haven't really co-written with before. And I did like a month in LA where there was a point where I was just totally fried, and I don't know, somebody had the idea like, hey, why don't you try and going to Los Angeles, maybe work with some writers and meet some producers. I was like, sure, why not? Can't hurt. And I wrote with a ton of people, and it basically narrowed it down to like 2 dudes that I really liked writing with, that I did a couple of songs with. But it was just stuff like that, where I was like, you know, let's try this. We got the time. There's no rush. Let's just see what we get. And,
well, I was going to say, does, you know, it was already sort of slow going for you, so does bringing in the other people that begets more slowness? It
honestly kind of does, in a way. Like, it moves along the process, as in you're getting more good songs, but then, you know, still, whenever I co-write with somebody, I always have to, like, take it back to my studio and tear it apart, and kind of rebuild it to be a Beartooth song. So it was just adding tons of time every time there was another song or another co-write. And I mean, full, like, finished songs, there are for sure over 20, well over, probably like 24, 25, and like total ideas for the album, meaning like instrumentals and stuff like that, probably over 30, probably like 32 or 33.
So does this mean in 2038 we're gonna get this big fucking box set? From
Yeah. The
I can't wait.
The special edition, with all of the B-sides. It's gonna be like a triple album.
The title and the first track are Disease, so that's really happy for this day and age.
Yeah, I know.
That'll pick everybody right up. No, really, go into the song.
Coming in happy.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Way to lighten the load.
In standard Beartooth fashion, we put out a very emotionally easy record. No, I mean, it was just kind of a natural progression, man. I actually came up with the title Disease and like the concept for the album in December of 2016, and have been working on it since. And I actually wrote the song Disease probably in like January, February of 2017. So I've been sitting on that song for a year and a half. And I don't know, that was the first song I wrote for the album, and it still stood the test. Like, it's still gonna be one of the main singles on the album. It ended up being the title track still. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, you know, you just like, you strike oil on the first try, and then you're like, fuck, I gotta chase that. And like, how do I beat that now? And that was a lot of the process of making the album, was trying to make it like live up to the song Disease. And,
you know, it's funny that you use the term stand the test, because that's a big problem often when a band goes in and takes a long time to do a record, that suddenly an early song you thought was great suddenly is like, you're not very excited about. Now I'm excited about the new stuff over here.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're going, well, we'll call it Chinese Democracy. You know? And it's 2038 and there's no box set.
Chinese Democracy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely a lot of that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of early songs that got scrapped, and, you know, newer songs took its place. But like, Disease just, I don't know, it always kept having a place on the record, and it always just felt like the title track out of the gate, and we just kept it that way.
What is it about when a song is that good and that much of a signature and you feel it that much? Is it the structure of the song? Is it the lyrics? Is it just the total vibe of it? It just all comes together?
It was just everything for that one. I mean, I wrote that song in probably like 2 days. It just happened really fast. And it wasn't like high pressure. I mean, we were obviously way out from an album being even thought about at that point. We like just did our first headliner for Aggressive when I wrote the song. And I don't know, it just, all of it came together in a really good way. And I like, even, I mean, the vocal takes that I used are the vocal takes I did a year and a half ago. It was just like every bit of the emotion was captured. And I was like, well, I mean, if it's there, I don't want to fuck it up. Like, there's no point in going in and just like screwing with it.
44 more takes to get essentially the same thing.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, that happened with a lot of the album, man. A good portion of it, the vocals were tracked in either like my house or I don't know, like just writing demos, because we would kind of capture this moment, like when you're in it and you have that energy and like the song is blooming and you get these vocal takes and you're like, well, you know, and I go back and try them at like this, you know, at Blackbird, which is where we did the record, which is an unbelievable studio. But
no, this is Blackbird in Nashville. Yeah,
the Blackbird. Yes, that place is.
I've been there too. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous place, and there's great food around there too.
Yeah, dude, the whole experience being there was incredible. But you know, we'd do vocal takes on these outrageous microphones, and like, I just feel like I couldn't quite capture that same emotion in that environment. I was like thinking too much. Like, I gotta hit the note better than that, and then I would do the same line. Yeah, 40
I'm at
times.
Blackbird. I gotta be perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Recording there was a trip. Like the way, because I mean, it's, as you can tell hearing the record, hopefully, and what I tried to do was just make it a real record, as in like they're real drums, like they're not sampled, which is like really common in mixing these days. The guitars are just, you know, amps and old cabinets and like old microphones, and yeah, it's all very real. But to get that to sound as good as I want it, me being such a crazy perfectionist, you know, I did get stuck in that rut of like doing drums specifically. Man, I would do verses over and over, like these simple parts that for sure were fine, but you know, I'd be like, nope, there was that one snare hit wasn't right, and I just fucking keep going and going and going in a circle. And but at the end of the day, I'm happy with the record, so whatever it took, I'm just happy we got there.
Is it hard to let go of a song that maybe you were happy with early on in the process? Is it hard to let it go? And if you do let a song go, do you later go back to it maybe to cannibalize it a bit and use it for something else years later?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an option. There are a few songs, even that we tracked at Blackbird, that didn't make it on the album.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we are going to have B-sides. We're going to have a lot of extra tracks, probably like 4 or 5 at least. But even on top of that, yeah, there's a ton of ideas that I have and songs that I wrote that, you know, I'm already planning on using for LP4, whenever that is or whatever that is. Just like stuff that didn't quite feel right for this album, but feels like it could be a cool Beartooth song, you know? So we definitely have a lot of ammo to go into the studio next time around.
Any cover songs?
No, but I've been working on some.
What do you got?
I've been working on this. I've been working on this cover of "Whole Lotta Rosie" by ACDC for like a year and a half. I've just like, I cannot fuck that one up. Like, that ACDC is God to me in the fucking rock and roll. So like, I can't do any disrespect. So if I do that, I gotta fucking do it right. But I actually did do a tribute song to Malcolm Young, who's my favorite guitar player, because he passed, obviously, sadly as it is. But I think that's going to end up being a B-side. It was just like this 1 and 45-second song, just AC/DC tribute, just like fucking rocking the hell out. But didn't quite make, did not make the final cut, unfortunately. But it's a fun song.
Also I would have to think something like that is therapeutic, because when like a big time rock star dies, you know, like you and me, we're posting, you know, I'll create a meme or we'll post stuff on our Facebook pages, and we love this person and we miss them. You're lucky enough to have another outlet that even if you don't share it with the world, that maybe you can get it out. Therapy, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like that song, the song was just called Young, and you know, whether it gets heard or not, I still to this day was probably the most fun I've ever had making a song in a studio, because it was at Red Bull Studios in LA, and the engineer there fucking loved ACDC as much as I did. So we just
all engineers love ACDC.
Yeah, I would hope. And we just spent like, you know, 4 hours probably talking about ACDC. And then I was like, fuck it, let's write an ACDC tribute. And then, you know, an hour later we had this kick-ass song, and it was just like very low pressure, no point in writing it other than having fun. And that was just like a nice...
That's what it's all about.
It reminded me why I, you know, make records.
You know, is there something you could explain to those of us who are not musicians? Maybe something about Malcolm's guitar style specifically, or maybe something in general about AC/DC. What's one thing you could tell us about how they created music that made AC/DC sound like AC/DC? Because often you'll hear an AC/DC song you've never heard before, and you'll go, oh, that's AC/DC, and you just know it.
And I mean, there's a lot of factors. To me, it's their tone.
Guitar tone.
Yeah, the guitar tone, for one, is really important. Like, you know, Malcolm played, you know, the sickest Gretsch. I believe it was a duo jet, or a jet. I'm not sure exactly the name, but it was a sick Gretsch. Marshall, you know, Angus is playing his SG. Marshall's just railed. And to me, that's kind of like where it starts, is like having a, you know, a Marshall Plexi 100 watt or some sort of loud ass Marshall. And then from there, I mean, just a killer 4 on the floor, and either Bon or Brian just wailing all over it. And like, you can't miss that sound. I don't know. You just know the moment you hear it, if it's AC/DC or if it's somebody trying to sound like AC/DC. And I don't know. That to me is why that band is so incredible. It's like, no matter what they do, they just always play the right chords. They don't fucking make their songs super complicated. They have great hooks, and they have the best guitar tones ever made in humanity. So, like, I just love it, man.
Caleb, it's always good to see you. Congratulations on the new music. Caleb Shomo of Beartooth. I'm Lou Brutus. We are backstage at Rockfest, Wisconsin.